So in the most rappers, if you speak to them, will tell you their primary job, their primary occupation is to entertain people.
Yeah.
In terms of a gospel rapper, then what would you say your job is?
I think it just depends on your office. So at the end of the day, spread the message, spread the good news, edify, enlighten. Take people from out of darkness, bring them into light, plant seeds. Not much different from the role of an evangelist, but I would say that we have you have different offices. So bottom line, that's what you do. How you do it and the intricacies of how you do that is specific to your office. So like a guy called Foreign Gordon was saying, he's from Momentum Music. Check them out, really good service they offer. He was saying you have people that sung in their temple, and then you have people that sung in the marketplace. So someone could easily look at the guy in the marketplace and say, "Wow, why are you doing stuff there?" But they don't know the intricacies of his office. They don't know what God has revealed to him. And likewise, someone could say, "Why are you still staying in the church? There's people outside that need to hear it." But again, it's the intricacies of the office. So I think I answered your question and added my own little masala into there. I hope that's all right.
No, that's all good. Yeah, I think that the other thing that I'd be curious about is the Bible says many are called, few are chosen.
Yeah.
And from both aspects, from gospel singers as well as gospel rappers, do you think that God needs to call you to that? Or do you think that's something that you can wake up, start going at it, practice, and you're good?
Wow. I'll definitely, but there's definitely the calling aspect to it. However, if it's something that you want to do, right, and you haven't necessarily got the call, providing your heart's in the right place, so you genuinely want to do it to serve God, you genuinely want to do it for no kind of personal kudos, just completely all towards God, I don't think that there's an issue with that if you get cracking and you get started with that. Because in that process, as long as your heart's right, you're going to be drawn closer to God as opposed to be taken away from Him. So in that process of you getting drawn closer to Him, that you're able to hear, because the word also says, I'm going to paraphrase this, but like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the word? If you can hear, to him who has ears or whatever.
He was ears, let him hear. Yeah.
I don't know how it was so hard for me to record that, but like, the closer you get, if you hear to God say to you, now look, this ain't your calling. You've got this is what I'm going to use for you to bring you closer to me, but this is what I really want you to do. Then so be it. Because I know people that have done that. People that so I have a friend who actually thought he was called for basketball, and then that didn't work out, and through anger he got involved in boxing, and that was his thing, and now he's doing really well with that. Do you know what I mean? So there is the calling aspect into it, but if your heart's in the right place, I don't necessarily think you have to be called. You hear it audibly, carry on, get cracking, give something to God to multiply, and then from there you can get redirected.
And do you feel with that? Do you think you can be a gospel entertainer and not necessarily a gospel minister?
Yeah, so I went to a seminar, a music ministry seminar in Canary Wharf held by the Liberty Church, and they were talking about the different types of ministers, and they were like, there's a type of minister that has to tell you, oh, I can feel the Spirit is here, kind of, without you actually knowing that it's, do you know what I mean? If it's really there, I don't need to tell you, like, my jacket is acid blue and black or whatever. I don't need to tell you that kind of thing. So I do think people are going, like my pastor says, you're not going there to do performance, you're going there to do ministry. So I do think you can just go there for the sake of it, and you're not necessarily operating in any kind of spiritual power. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think one has more value than the other, or?
Yeah, define value.
Beneficial to the kingdom, beneficial to people who are then beneficial to the kingdom. So like there's all types of different music fans. If we take it away from gospel for a second, you'll have artists. Let's take someone like a Pitbull.
Okay.
Pitbull is somebody's favorite rapper.
Yeah.
Nothing too deep, nothing too intricate, nothing life changing. Simply and purely entertainment. Perhaps a sense of enjoyment to come with it as part of that entertainment. On the other hand, you have those people that fiend for being spoken to, and I think even secular people kind of want something a bit deeper. In terms of speaking to their soul or their spirit, or something that impacts their life when they come to listen to it. Some people only want to listen to artists who they feel are gonna have an impact on their life and the way of thinking, challenge them. Like a Drake, to me, his whole thing is introspectiveness. He looks at himself and situations in a deeper way than everyone else, and whether or not people realize it, that's what they're kind of feeding into.
Yeah.
So within that, is there a difference in the value of almost like I don't want to say failed, but Nas is a supporting act at festivals nowadays. Someone like a Nas who's a bit deeper, compared to somebody who just simply does it to make people jump up and down and clap.
Make noise. There's a scripture that says, again, I'm paraphrasing. This is really bad, I'm like the king of paraphrasing, but it says, like, if you flop me, I'll raise the rocks to praise me, kind of thing. So I believe, regardless of their intention or regardless of their, let's say, power, potential, whatever, God can still use that, whether of effectiveness. I think face value effectiveness is obviously the person that's operating in the spirit, because he's doing stuff, he's planting seeds, or she's planting seeds, and so on, kind of thing. So superficially, I would say the person that's operating in the spirit, but then God could use either one. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you think you've been received in the church as a gospel rapper? How's that been?
It's been interesting. So I think I've told you this. So I'll come to events, and it's like sometimes they've just sectioned off a whole area for. Let me look in the camera for this, because this is an interesting story. There's a seats, and there'll be labeled ministers. I'll be sitting there minding my business. Hello, hey, how you doing? All of that, and then I'll get questions like, "Are you Christian? Are you saved?" And I'm thinking, I'm just now sitting in the ministry section for my health. Or I'm here to tell you about Herbalife instead. That's what that's my ministry kind of thing. Like, not to say that can't be a ministry, but do you know what I mean? Like that, I've just come there to talk about anything and everything.
Why do you think that is?
It's purely because of my skin tone. Like every church I go to is either white or black. I've only been to one Asian church in Wolverhampton, and that was mind blowing for me, because I thought I was like the only one for the longest time. Because you gotta imagine, when I got saved, I stepped out of community, I stepped out of tradition, I stepped out of all of those things, and almost in a sense, so I'm stepping into Christianity, which is completely new, but also church is people, isn't it? So I'm stepping into their traditions, I'm stepping into their culture, kind of thing. So there's like a disconnect and a reconnect and all this stuff, and the church just received me a bit funny. So there's people that have been cool, and there's people that haven't been, but that's okay, because that's how it's going to be everywhere. If you go to McDonald's, the post office, Woolworths ain't even open, what am I talking about? If you go to Argos, do you know what I mean? You're going to get off people everywhere, so.
But if we even take those comparisons that you mentioned, the post office, the bank, Argos and whatnot, would you say that there's a deeper level of segregation in the church than in those places, or do you think they're on par?
I think it's a bit deeper in the church because there's more knowledge. So knowledge can trip you up, man, if you don't have a proper, correct grasp and understanding of it, and there's a humility in you, kind of thing. So you can be puffed up, be proud, and just start acting amazingly stupid, do you know what I mean, kind of thing. So I do think we have taken it a notch up, and it's weird, I'm very intentional of not saying anything ill of the church, because that's something I represent, isn't it? But as of late, I do feel that there needs to be a dialogue for this, because otherwise you're just forever putting stuff under the carpet.
What do you think is causing that segregation?
Pride, really. Pride, like, so from going into ministry full time, I learned very quickly that just pride, man. Someone said this to me a long time ago, a lady called Carol, and she said, pride is the beginning of all sin. You know, if you really just kind of clock it, if you really just deep it, and I never really understood that, but the kind of issues that I started encountering and the people and whatever, taking this step, it always come back to me. It always come back to me, because I could be so angry with somebody, but it always come back to me, and I think that's the pride element, me kind of thing.
How does pride cause segregation?
How does pride cause segregation? So I think I'm better than you. I need to talk to you, or you don't wear the same shoes I wear. You don't dress the same I dress. You don't talk the same way I talk. You don't go to the same. We didn't go to the same school. I see you with your friends. Stupidness. So I remember. I won't even say the area because they're there all the time. But there was some ministers. They were evangelizing, and there was some like addicts, kind of people, kind of like people that was addicted to drugs, and they kind of on the street and stuff. And I was just talking to them, and I was sitting with one, and the dude, I think he was smoking a spliff or whatever, and I was sitting with him, and then the way that this evangelist just gave us some funny look, and then they was doing all of this, like looking over the shoulder and talking and all this. It's almost like I read their mind, and I was thinking, really, if you understood the context of what's happening here, and not to be blasphemous, but that's what Jesus did, isn't he? He sat with the sinners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm in that instance of somebody that's saved sitting with somebody that's not saved, I'm synonymous in that example. And I'm thinking, you lot just looking there and casting your funny eye, and you put your mascara on properly, and you casting me. Do you know what I mean, kind of thing. So yeah, that's. But and I'm sure there's other ways to articulate how he's pride, but those are the ones that come to mind.
Yeah.